right, we are back, and we are going to go to line number 7 here and say a very good morning to Premier Kathy Dunderdale. Premier, good morning.
Good morning, Randy.
How you doing?
I'm doing just great, thank you.
We're chewing you up here.
Yes, and I'm going to do a little bit of chewing back.
Go for it. I think that's fair. I'm delighted that you called because I know it says here Muskrat Falls, but if you'll give me permission when we do that, can we take a second? And I want to ask you a couple of quick little questions about one in particular, the Republic of Doyle. I'll warn your communications people now. We're getting some criticism about money being put into that. And possibly a little chat about this home care situation, okay?
Sure,
all right.
absolutely.
But first, Muskrat Falls. I said this morning, surely even on you, Premier, the irony that now Manitoba Hydro is going to get all the time that you wouldn't give the PUB, that can't be lost on you or anybody else, can it?
But why are you assuming the amount of time that MHI is going to be given? You know,
well, because you said July or August.
But just bear with me.
PUB asked for June, and you said no.
Hang on a second now.
Okay.
All the fuss that and comments you made, even with regard to the House of Assembly not opening until March, one would have expected that when the House did open, that somebody would pay some attention to the debate that's taking place within there. When the PUB filed the report, refused to make a recommendation, there was quite a bit of debate around the fact that they complained that they couldn't do it because they didn't have Decision Gate 3 numbers. Time and time and time again, I said, the minister said in the House of Assembly, Decision Gate 3 numbers will not be available till sometime in June at the earliest. MHI cannot begin its work on Decision Gate 3 numbers until Nalcor completes that work, which at the earliest will be mid to end June. They need then to do the proper analysis. They certainly won't be getting 9 months the way that in the same amount of time that the PUB had to do their analysis on Decision Gate 2 numbers. So they will do a piece of work for us. We expect that work to be completed late summer.
Right.
We then need to put that in the hands of the opposition, because if we don't give them some time to have a look at it, to study it, to get some analysis one would expect done from their own sources, then we can hardly look for an informed debate in the House of Assembly. So all of this information is not going to be available until late end of summer, and we're committing to go to a full debate in the House of Assembly in the fall. So I don't understand the points that you're trying to make this morning, because first of all, they're built on assumptions, and assumptions that are incorrect. What we promised the opposition and what we promised the people of the province was that we would get all of this information, we would provide it to the opposition, that we would also provide it in a householder to all of the people in the province, that we would have a debate in the House of Assembly before we took a sanction decision.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're doing. And we're doing it in a way that people will be well informed, the analysis will be completed by an arm's length expert, and so the debate will be informed, the opposition will be armed with the information that they've been asking for, people of the province will have it in their hands, and everybody will be able to follow the debate, and at the end of that time in the House of Assembly, the Nalcor with the government will make a sanction decision as to whether or not we will proceed with Muskrat Falls.
All right, here are the
good governance.
All right, here's the two little, I'll call it problems. All right, when the PUB were given the task, and your government and your minister and you fellows all hung your hat on the PUB report. They were going to be the independent body. They were going to be the folks. So everybody critical of the program and the process, everybody shut up. The PUB is going to be the independent body, and everybody said
on
good.
Decision Gate 2 number.
All right. They go, okay, let's do that technical dance just a second. Hang on. No, but
let's be clear.
All right, fine. Let's finish the thought. All right? Because this is the political piece.
Yeah.
They come back and say to you, listen, we want more time.
Till the end of June.
To get this done. Till the end of June. You guys say, not giving you more time, produce your report by the end of March, and we say, Premier, what's the pressure? What's the fuss? Why so fast? Got to get this into the House. Has to be in the hands of the opposition. Must have this thing done by the end of June. Oh, the deadlines.
Hang on
all
now,
there.
Randy.
But that was the impression left.
That was clearly the decision that government took at the time. We're coming into the spring session of the House of Assembly. Every Wednesday afternoon is Private Members' Day. We have the reply to the speech from the throne, which is hours and hours of debate. We have 75 hours of speaking time to the budget, in which you can speak at anything under the sun, and people do. Very rarely do they talk about the budget. They talk about everything else. The spring session provided us with an opportunity unprecedented to discuss Muskrat Falls in the House of Assembly. Now, we're going to go to a week-long debate in the fall on Muskrat Falls. You know, we may have 40 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours, 50 hours. We could have had 100 hours or more in the spring.
Yeah, but understand when this session started, you were having no debate in the House of Assembly.
Oh, yes, we were. I said time. This is what I'm saying.
Your own minister was on any number of media outlets saying they could debate it as part of the budget. They can ask all the questions. We don't have to have a debate.
Every second Wednesday, the opposition could bring forward their own resolution on Muskrat Falls.
Yeah.
Every second Wednesday for the whole from March until June or July.
But you changed you did change your mind in that and said, okay, now we're going to have this debate in the House.
Hang on now, we got to finish on the time. The mandate that was given to the PUB was decision gate 2 numbers. They went out, they got their arm's length experts to do the analysis on decision gate 2 numbers. And whatever else they were going to do were going to be around that decision, those numbers. They came back and said, we want till the end of June. And we went back and said, no, not till the end of June. You've had 9 months. Well, you've had 6 months. We'll extend you for another 3. We want you to complete this work because we want it available for all of this time for discussion in the House of Assembly. They came back at the end of March and said, no, we can't do this work because you didn't give us till the end of June, was the first thing they said. Mm-hmm. The second thing they said was we need decision gate 3 numbers. They knew, and so should have anybody else who was paying attention, decision gate 3 numbers were not going to be available till the end of June at the earliest. At the earliest. And time again, I have said to the opposition in answer to questions in question period, how could the PUB get decision gate 3 numbers in June, give them to MHI for a complete analysis, do their public consultation, write a report, and deliver it to the government by the end of June? How could they do that? They knew decision gate numbers weren't going to be available until June. Now remember, Randy, they only asked for an extension to the end of June. So how were you going to do all that work by the end of June? You weren't even going to get the numbers.
But now the PUB, which did 8 or 9 months worth of work, are banished to the sidelines, and Manitoba Hydro, quoting the news stories here, will attempt to accomplish that using the information the PUB said it lacked. So even Manitoba Hydro now is being asked to do a job that's going to use what you called DG3 numbers.
Manitoba Hydro did the job that they were asked to do on decision gate 2 numbers. The 2 fundamental questions that have been asked that need to be answered for the people of the province and were asked on a daily basis in the House of Assembly. Do we need the power? And there has been a resounding yes. Even the leader of the opposition has acknowledged, finally, we need the power. What is the least cost alternative? The least cost alternative by every expert who has looked at this file have concluded it is Muskrat Falls. Mm-hmm. If somebody can show us where there's a gap in the analysis, natural gas is not an option. Wind is not an option. The next least cost alternative is a combination of refurbishment of Holyrood. MHI tells us that's not even a good idea because it needs to be replaced, not refurbished, but we've only got refurbishment costs in, small hydro, and wind. And that is $2 billion more expensive than Muskrat Falls. Every other option after that becomes even more expensive. So if somebody can get some expert analysis that will counter the expertise at Nalcor, Navigant, MHI, and ZIF, Wood Mackenzie, PIRA, if they would please bring that forward, then we would be more than happy to consider it.
All right, a suggestion coming in to me via an email question for you.
Yeah?
Will the PUB get the info and a chance to finish their job now?
No, absolutely not. They were given a mandate. They refused to complete the work on their mandate. They could have come forward on Decision Gate 2 numbers, made their recommendations based on that information. If they had caveats to make, remember the expert analysis that we expected from the PUB was done by MHI. Experts that we didn't pick, we didn't identify. We certainly acknowledge that they have the expertise nationally and internationally. But these are the PUB's own experts who have said, based on all of this information, this is the least cost alternative.
So you disagree with my view that there's an irony in all of this?
No, I don't.
That now Manitoba Hydro International, I understand where you're coming from. You're saying the mandate for PUB was all based on Decision Gate 2 numbers. That's the decision they had to make.
Absolutely.
They came back and said, we can't make a legitimate, timely decision, yay or nay, on this based on numbers that are, for all intents and purposes, from 2010. You're close to Decision Gate 3 numbers.
But
we'd like to have them before we make what would have been I guess at the end of the day, it still comes down to this. If now we have to wait, the debate that's going to happen is not going to happen till the fall anyway.
Yep.
Manitoba Hydro is now going to have Decision Gate 3 numbers. What would be wrong than with saying, all right, PUB?
And then we wait another 6 months for the PUB to do what? Because they had MHI's numbers. They had them early. We had MHI's report. The report we were missing was from the PUB. We had the experts' report on the information. What was the PUB going to report on beyond the experts? MHA looked at all of the technical information. They quoted though
they quoted in the report challenge after challenge after challenge the numbers
and also acknowledged first of all, two things about the report. When the PUB talked about the report, they said the report, MHI's report was overall positive and concluded it was the least cost alternative. Not only did they conclude that we needed the power, they concluded also that we needed more power even than we were forecasting. Mm-hmm. And the PUB in its report said, while the bulk of MHI's report is extremely positive, we are not going to deal with that in our report. We're only going to take the negative aspects of it. And that's what we're going to speak to. Mm-hmm. More than that, they quote sources who challenge MHI's information, experts, acknowledged experts by the PUB, and they don't even name who they are. So we have people, we have no idea if they know the first thing about energy generation of any sort, being quoted as experts but not even named in the report. So we don't know who they are or what their expertise is. And, numbers are going to change. Well, and Muskrat Falls numbers are going to change. We have always acknowledged that. you know, their 2010 numbers, if we're going to 2012, of course it's going to be more expensive in 2012. The numbers are going to change. Decision Gate 3 numbers are going to change. We've acknowledged that from day one. But while Muskrat Falls numbers are changing, especially around labor and capital costs, because we've identified from the beginning that they're the two areas where costs are going to escalate, they've been escalating for every other alternative as well. Mm-hmm. They're not remaining static. Mm-hmm. And what we need to do in Decision Gate 3 is ensure that we got all of the research and analysis and modeling and all of the things that needs to get done before you sanction a project, that's all done, that the numbers are as up to date as we can get them and forecasted as well as we can do it. And everybody has acknowledged that Nalcor is using best practices with regard to that, top marks from every analysis that's been done. Mm-hmm. And we also compare the other options.
Okay, go back to
see that the gap is not closing.
Okay, go back to the beginning, just all this thing about the debate in the House, the sanctioning process, and all that's going on very quickly.
Yeah.
You going to have a vote in the House?
Yes.
Are the MHAs going to stand and vote, or is this going to be, because originally, right, there was going to be no debate. Members of the House weren't voting on this. It would be decided by the cabinet.
Hang on a second now, Randy. There was going to be a lot of debate. There wasn't going to be a resolution. Let's be precise about what we're talking about here now. There would have been no resolution coming on yay or nay on sanction. You know, there would have been far more debate in the House than there's going to be even in a focused debate now. It's an opportunity lost to the opposition, I believe, and to the people of the province. However, we're determined that the job that we hoped the PUB would do will be completed by MHI. And we'll do that. We'll update the numbers now because we're at a place that it's sensible to do that now.
We'll
have the debate, and then we'll make the sanction numbers.
Can you stay with me for a couple of minutes?
Sure.
I want to ask you about this healthcare thing, and I want to ask you about the search and rescue thing. So if you've got 5 minutes, I'm going to go to break and let you get a glass of water, and then we'll be back.
Okay.
All right. We're listening to, and we are speaking with Premier Cathy Dunderdale. She's going to hang in there for another couple of minutes with us. You hang in there as well. We're back right after this. All right, we are back, and very quickly we're talking again with Premier Cathy Dunderdale this morning about a couple of topics that have cropped up. We haven't even said the word budget, Premier, which is pretty good. Just let me make sure I understand, because I think this is a very interesting development. There will be, at the end of this debate on Muskrat Falls next fall, a stand and vote by every member in the House of Assembly on up or down, yay or nay. In other words, what I'm saying is you're going to make the opposition parties out there, because like the Liberals are a little confused about what their position right now, you're going to make them stand up and say we're either for this or against it.
Absolutely.
Same thing for the New Democrats and your own crowd.
Absolutely. Free vote.
A free vote. And
people are going to stand and say, look, we have confidence in this, or we won't have confidence in it, depending on what the Decision Gate 3 numbers are. You know, Here's why would a government want to develop a project that is not in the best interest of the people of the province, particularly given our history on the Churchill River? You would have to be out of your mind. You know, the thing that is most frustrating for me as Premier is we're trying to get through this in a very analytical way, weighing out all of the options, trying to make the right decisions for the people of the province. And I did an interview yesterday, and we talked about nation building, and you have to break Quebec's stranglehold over our province and our energy and our future, because energy is where our future is. And we have to be able to get a power out of this province. Otherwise, this vast super energy warehouse we have here becomes useless. And while all of that is important, and we need to be progressing those things as well, this still has to make sense for the ratepayer. This has to make sense for people who are lighting their homes, heating their homes, and having to pay their light bill every month. Mm-hmm. And I do not want to be saddled with the responsibility of building or negotiating another Upper Churchill contract. What I want is to meet the energy demands of the people of this province, both residentially and commercially and industrially. And I want to do it in a fair way, and I want to grow our economy from the excess power we have. And so I have to be somewhat detached from all of this. I can't be married to Muskrat Falls at any cost. I have to be very measured, and my cabinet has to be very measured in terms of our decision making. But what is extremely frustrating for us as a government is the naysayers who I'm not sure from whence they get their credibility. When you have Navigant, when you have MHI, when you have the Consumer Advocate, when you have experts from all over the world validating the work that Nalcor has done, it's frustrating for me the way that people dismiss the expertise that's at Nalcor. Mm-hmm. One of the finest companies, state-owned companies in the world, I would submit to you, the best brains, the expertise, built the Upper Churchill, running the Upper Churchill for 50 years without a hitch, and not with the easiest of customers either, I might add. Mm-hmm. Running Bay to Spare. I mean, you know, we have a very good utility in Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro. We had to fight to save it. And all of a sudden, they don't know anything about energy development. They don't know about hydro. They don't know about wind, even though we've got 2 wind projects. They don't know about oil and gas. And yet the head of the company and the senior VPs in the company, you know, ran Hibernia, helped develop Hibernia, ran the fields, you know, come from, were hired by companies like Norsk Hydro and worked for them the best we could find. And the bonus, not only did they have the best minds and the greatest depth of experience and knowledge around all of these areas, but they're Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, passionate about the place in the same way that the rest of us are.
All right,
and these people just get dismissed as
and you find that disturbing.
I do so.
All right.
You know, Nalcor's numbers. Well, what's wrong with Nalcor's numbers? Somebody show us. You know, somebody show us why Nalcor's numbers aren't as good as
anybody else's.
As Dave Verdi's or Ron Penny's. Do they have a hydro project over in the bottom of City Hall that we don't know anything about? These people at Nalcor do this work day in, day out. Their credentials are beyond reproach.
All right. I'm going to move on. Going to end on that one there and move just to this. Came up yesterday. The opposition issued a notice about it. It is in reference to a promise made in your blue book in the 2011 election relating to family members being able to care for the disabled, the infirm, the aged, in their own homes. And the government was going to look at a way of putting some money into their hands to try.
No. That was not the commitment in the Blue Book.
It wasn't?
You know, here we are with spin again.
All right.
And I'm sure, I made that announcement in Grand Falls, Windsor, and I'm sure there must be a clip around somewhere. As many people know, I spent time doing social work with the Department of Social Services long before I came to politics. And I did home support for people. And, and it's something I've stayed in touch with as I've embarked on my political career. One of the great frustrations for people who are in receipt of home support funding is that they have not been allowed to hire family members to give that care. Only under exceptional circumstances, some people have been given an exemption to do it, but otherwise you cannot do it. This has been a great burden for people because often the people who are ill or infirm don't want somebody from the outside coming in. They have somebody in their family who's prepared to leave a current job.
I'm listening to you explain it. How you have someone who's prepared to leave? Yeah. How does that differ from what I was just saying?
Because the money is already there. People are applying for home support all the time. And you have to meet the criteria. You have to be approved for home care funding, for home support funding. People are being approved for home support every day.
Yeah.
The change in policy is now, and that consideration is given to family members to provide that care. So
which as a general rule, the policy has been that a family member cannot do that.
You can hire your neighbor.
Yeah.
But you couldn't hire your daughter
or your sister
to come in, and that's what we're trying to change.
Well, so how is that different from this statement from your blue book? We will develop a new model of home care, that realigns patient care funding so that it is based on the patient's assessed needs. Clients will have the option of receiving that care from family members.
Absolutely. So
that is what you're proposing to do, but you're saying you're going to you have up to 4 years to do it? Is that how you're looking at it?
No, not at all. All of these kinds of things you have to build safeguards about, because you have to have criteria on we can't allow ourselves to write a policy that then allows everybody who has somebody sick in their home to be able to come and apply for government funding.
Right.
So it'd be grand if we could do that. But we'd be talking.
There's challenges to getting that objective. I totally appreciate.
Absolutely.
I appreciate what some of them are.
Just crafting the criteria properly, so that we can do this, that we maintain the program and the principles of the program, and we remove impediments to people. For some people in some communities, there's not even people who are able to do this. Instead of making people jump through all kinds of loops, to be able to get somebody in their family to provide the care, we're trying to get those barriers and useless things out of the way.
Well, this is
but at the same time, protect the integrity of the program. It's as simple as that.
This is a fundamental change, and it does have obstacles and it does have challenges to get to the objective you're trying to achieve. Yep. How long are you giving the people inside the department to do that? I talk to the Minister of Health on this on a regular basis, and it's progressing, and it's not going to take us 4 years to do it. And one of the... Do you have a timeline for it?
No, we don't have a timeline for it, because the department is working diligently on it, and I expect that we're going to be there sooner rather than later. I can guarantee you that it's not going to take us 4 years to get there.
I hear your passion on these topics this morning, and I've got an email from someone who wonders. I'm not going to bother to read the email, but I'll just say that they wonder aloud. Why do we hear this passion from the Premier over Muskrat Falls, but we never heard that kind of passion from the Premier over the closing of the Marine Rescue Center in St. John's? Question mark. I
don't even know how to respond to that. My family earns their living on the water. When we talk about marine search and rescue, I'm talking about members of my own family who put their lives at risk, like thousands of people in this province, whether they're fishing, whether they're delivering cargo, or whether they're working in the oil industry. We're all marked by the Ocean Ranger. We're all marked by the Cougar helicopter crash. This is extremely important to all of us. And, we're not talking about the end of search and rescue in Newfoundland and Labrador. We're talking about the sub-centre being consolidated in Halifax. We still have search and rescue services. Now we're all very worried about the quality of those services. And are they going to service us well being focused out of Halifax instead of here, where I believe they ought to be, and most Newfoundlanders and Labradorians believe they ought to be. Now, I have to make that argument as strongly as I can, and I have been, and I will continue to do so, to the Prime Minister and to every other minister in his government as I get their ears. I'm hoping that they'll reconsider. I've had a commitment from Rear Admiral Gardam that if there are any difficulties encountered, he is going to go directly back to his bosses in Ottawa, and as the commander in charge of all of that, saying this needs to change back. We can't do it. And I've had a commitment from him with regard to that in a private meeting I had with him just within the last 2 months. I continue to press this. I'm going to continue to monitor it. I care about what happens in Newfoundland and Labrador, whether it's on the land or on the sea. And like most other people in this province, you know, I have a personal investment in safety on the waters around the province.
Premier Kathy Dunderdale, when are you going to come in and sit here and talk to some people with us?
Gee, I'd love to.
When?
Oh, I don't know.
You know me, I'm for a date now.
I'm off to Houston now because we've got the oil technology conference down there.
I will see you. I will see you there.
Yeah, and we'll have a chat about it there.
We'll pick a date.
All right.
All right.
Good.
I thank you for doing this today.
You're very welcome, sir.
Have a great one.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That is the Honourable Premier, the Honourable Member for Virginia Waters, of course, the Honourable Premier, Kathy Dunderdale. What do you think of what she said about those three topics? Boy, we could have kept her all day, though, right? But what do you think about what she said about those topics? We're off to break, and we're really late again. Sorry, everybody on the network. I'm sorry, but it was the Premier.